98. Welcome to the 98 Center Table podcast. This is our podcast where we do one-on-one interviews with people. My co-host Randy here, and we're interviewing Alan Vaughn from North Carolina Silverback Arms Crew, and we want to find out what he's got going on down in North Carolina. So, Alan,
thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit, like how long you've been arm wrestling, and how your team came to be and what you guys are trying to do and stuff.
Yeah, so we're a small town group out of Rockingham County, North Carolina. Most of us went to school together, really. And right now we're a group of 6 trying to grow. And I started pulling roughly over 3 years ago. And honestly, the way I came about it was found a tournament in Boone. First time I ever pulled was the first time my elbow ever hit a table. Fortunately, I got with some good refs, some good folks up there that kept me from getting hurt and turned me on to the sport. And I realized then, all the egos was, as a sport you thought would be filled with egos and, everybody trying to be macho and alpha. It wasn't. All the egos was checked at the door, and it was a brotherhood. And it was something I could get down with. Immediately knew that, and I've been addicted since. I got the taste, and I've been addicted since.
Nice. Yeah, that's kind of how I got it too.
Yeah, I think, I talk to people, that's kind of how we stumble across it, and you get in touch with some right people. And since then, in the state of North Carolina, we've grown ridiculously over the last 3 years with phenomenal coaches, phenomenal captains, everyone from Paul Walter to Rick Layton that we've got down there, kind of, the legends leading it to several tenured pullers that's, really taking the lead. And the teams, when I first started, I want to say it was less than 6 teams, and now we're up to 13 teams across the state right now.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
See, and that's good to see in the sport, because up here in the Northeast, like, it was a large populated area with arm wrestlers when I got into it. This area has had a lot of arm wrestlers for a long time, where a lot of the states in between here in the South, it was like a slower progression. But now a lot of them are booming right now, which is cool to see.
I think what I'm seeing is a lot of like-minded folks like myself, drop a couple of names like a Bradley Dobie, a Adam Hoeing, where we all had a desire for the sport, but it wasn't enough events in our state, in our area. So we took it upon ourselves to start doing small-time promoting, to start hosting these small events. I think my very first event was a round robin event. I did a 198 Road to the Pros. It was your top amateur 198 pounders, 10 of us got together to do a round robin event, and we all agreed, hey, this is our last amateur event. We're all pro after this, because we've been into it a couple of years. And it would start off as small things like that. Now we're doing my last event. I had a 35 match super match event, and my next event is a 41 match super match event right now. So you had other team captains kind of had that same idea. It's like, hey, let's keep putting these smaller events on in North Carolina to draw in we get a lot of Virginia support from Val guys up there. We get a lot of support from South Carolina, and now here recently, as we go more towards Asheville with David Redmond and his team, we're getting a lot of Tennessee support as well. So it's really starting to spread across the entire state. Adam Hoeing made a very cool map of all the teams, and it's east all the way to end, top to bottom, spread out perfectly. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, I actually met Adam down at the VAL event where Devin was at, and we had a really good conversation about, like, he's doing something very similar to what we're doing, trying to get it into schools, and we're kind of doing something similar with the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. And
That's very cool.
I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool that he's doing that. And I actually invited him to come on the podcast after the next VAL tournament, so he might actually come on the podcast. But super nice guy, and
Yeah.
all you guys that I've met from down there are super nice, and that's why I wanted to have you on the podcast. And I saw your Facebook post about some exciting news coming up, so I don't know
Yeah.
if you can talk about that or not, but
I can.
I'll try to
I can.
release this podcast after you release it on Facebook.
It's funny since we've gotten on the video, my graphics designer just sent me their logo to get to them. But we are proud to announce that we are starting a second charter of Silverback Arms Crew. Although we're small in our area, there's an opportunity in East Tennessee where a close friend of mine, Nathan Middlebrooks, who I met through our super match, ran up by a stump crew in Ohio. We had a super match up there and became very close there. He is starting a branch of Silverback Arms Crew East Tennessee out of his town. Right now, he's already a team of 5, I believe he told me today, and they just wanted to be part of something that was already becoming established. We've been pulling them into all the North Carolina events that we could. Nathan pulled in Fall Brawl last year. Nathan pulled in Raleigh and Rumble this past year, and he's coming up in Fall Brawl this year. I've got him on 2 matches there, so he's bringing his team with him. So he's all in. He's trying to get more with Mountain Mayhem with David Redmond and his team because they're close by. So to have Silverback Arms Crew and Mountain Mayhem right there together is awesome. David Redmond's a close personal friend of mine, so I love to see them working together. But Nathan Middlebrooks, top-notch, insanely great left hand. I couldn't ask for a better person to lead it up there just as far as a good man. I know his wife personally, his family, and just a ton of integrity. He's an idiot like me, so we're very like-minded. We're complete morons. We like the show. We like the flair. We like the excitement. We want to draw people in, and Nathan, you couldn't have a better person doing it than Nathan Middlebrooks. So Silverback
That's
Arms Crew
awesome.
East Tennessee is launching tonight. So
Nice.
I've been very excited about it.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
I love seeing stuff like that.
Yeah. I actually had a question for you. Are you the founder of Silverback Arms Crew?
I am, yeah. So believe it or not, Randy, I started it, and I tell people all the time, I would never start the way I started, where we didn't go find us a proper coach and a proper mentor to keep us safe, and we learned it the right way. But in our area, we wasn't close to it, so myself and a good friend of mine, Willie Comer, started, and we started on a bar top, is where we started pulling, and then we went and bought our first table, and then we had a third person join us, John Lawson, who, by the way, is ranked right-hand, left-handed top 5 in the state of North Carolina after this past weekend at Carolina Clash. So plug to
Nice.
John Lawson. But they now we're at 5 and 6, and then we've had a couple drifters come in and out, but they had to move or job work. Life happens. Life
Yeah.
happens, and they've had to step away right now. But we've had 5 very consistent people over the last since right at 3 years August. I'm coming up on 3 years this month when we started Silverback Arms Crew.
Nice.
So
Man, nice.
I tried to stay very active on social media to build the following up, and I think I did a pretty good job. I still try to go in every so often and invite a ton of people to the page, obviously,
Yeah.
but I think we're knocking on 3,000 followers on our Facebook page right now.
That's great.
That's awesome.
So, and it's all about continue to put good content that people want to watch. That's what draws people in. So
Yeah.
you gotta stay active and give the people what
Absolutely.
they want, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's great, man. I'm looking at your page right now.
Yeah, we I probably haven't been as active on it because with all the events and stuff, I don't post as much on that page as I do all the events and stuff we've had going. Because just got done with Carolina Clash. August the 2nd was a huge success to me, the most successful event I've had yet from a professional standpoint. We hired a production crew to come in, and shout out to ENC Productions. Josh Blevins and his team did an amazing job. Josh Blevins is a North Carolina puller. That's the connection. ENC stands for Eastern North Carolina. So it's a media production team out of North Carolina. They did that live stream all on their own. Could not have asked for better. The venue we was at was a brewery, very, very nice. And they've asked to become our home venue for all of our events. So
Oh, that's
I
great.
think they did a rough head count. I had roughly 50 pullers, and the bar manager said she did a rough head count of what I brought in, and they said they estimate about 140 people
That's
there.
great.
So
They
Yeah.
I,
love to see that.
yeah, I had 2 food trucks there, and I had live music after as well to kind of
Nice.
if people wanted to stick around and listen to the music, and they had plenty of food options, and just wanted to be family friendly, family oriented, and comfortable for everyone.
The after
Nice.
event is always fun too when everyone hangs out, you know.
I think we after pulled. I met Jason. No, Kurt and Hunter Welch was the last 2 there because they helped me load my truck, and I don't think we pulled out till 8:30 that night, and the
Yeah.
event started at noon. So Hunter and Kurt was the last 2 there. Kurt brought his handles, and I know y'all know Hunter. Hunter's it's about as good as they come. So those 2 helped me load up my truck at the end of the day.
Nice.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome. It's nice when you can partner with a place like that too. You know, you can kind of have your spot at the brewery you're talking about.
Oh yeah, we mirrored. A friend of mine went around and was getting all the TVs mirrored, so the live stream production was actually on the TVs around the brewery as
Nice.
well. So
Yeah.
just if you couldn't be close to the table, you could get a good view on the TVs. So Havoc Brewing Company, and um, not Denton, North Carolina, Sanford, North Carolina. Please, if you're in the area, stop by and see them. Phenomenal drinks, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, and they also have plenty of food options around. So if you're ever in the area, please stop by.
What's the name of the place?
Havoc Brewing Company.
Have it.
Havoc, HAVOC.
Havoc. Sorry, Havoc.
Yeah, what a cool place to have arm wrestling tournaments too at Havoc. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Tell
that
me I
sounds
can't do
cool as
something.
fuck.
It
I'm
fits
gonna
Something
go.
creative with that, right?
I'm gonna go leave them a 5-star review after we get off the
There we go.
podcast, dude.
Oh, I'm
I
looking
hope,
at it
I
now.
hope,
Actually, it's really nice.
hopefully they'll give me a free drink next time I'm there.
There we go, dude. Me and Randy will both go do a 5-star review.
There you go. It's a nice looking place too. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, dude, it's very, very, very beautiful. Just
Yeah.
very elegant, really. And we
I was
set
gonna
the
say it's
tables up in front
classy.
of the way we set the tables up is in front of the glass windows of the warehouse where they do the brewery and everything. So we set up like that intentionally just because it looked great. And
Yeah,
like I said, the production team just nailed it. That was their first real big job. Um, and real pros of what they did.
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
what
so
you guys are doing down there.
we're looking forward. We had I said 34 matches roughly. I've got it right here in front of me. It was roughly 9 ranked matches for North Carolina ranking, and our headliner was Bryce Meadows and Adam Hoeing. That was a left-hand banger in the Southeast. Everybody wanted to see.
I bet.
Bryce comes down for all of our events in North Carolina. I'm close with that entire team up at Princeton High Hookers, and
Yeah,
they come
he's a
down for
young
everything.
stud, dude.
Dude, and so driven and
Yeah.
self-educated. And I complimented him last time I went up to practice with him about a month ago. I was like, dude, your attitude has changed. Where, I've told him, I told him, I big brothered him a couple years ago. I was like, dude, bring it down a little bit. We all see you. Bring it down. A lion doesn't have to tell a sheep is a lion, And now he's humbled. He's calmed down a little bit, and he's just showing it on the table. And he's so grateful, so humble, so appreciative for the opportunity, whether he wins or loses. He's just, he's becoming the man he needs to be on and off the table.
That's awesome, man.
I got to see him down at VAL. Me and Ryan went down to that, and
Yeah.
very impressive guy. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's been on our podcast. Yeah, he's a good dude.
He's got 2 matches with us at Fall Brawl, and in October, and one of them is it was Josh Harding right hand, I believe. He's pulling Josh Harding right hand. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's a fun match. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, he's got Josh Harding left hand. Pulling Josh left hand. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Josh is also a beast.
Oh yeah, dude, country strong.
Yeah.
Josh country strong, boy.
Dude, the first tournament I ever went to was an open tournament, and Josh was my first match. And I said, Josh, listen.
Nice draw.
I'm like, Yeah, I said, look, I'm brand new to the sport. I suck. He thought I was kidding with him. So you never seen a faster flash pan in your fucking life, dude. He just fucking whack, and then he goes, "Oh shit, you weren't kidding." And I was like, "No, dude, I was not." And then we've been friends ever since. So, but yeah, that was my first experience in arm wrestling.
And shout out to Josh and Dan and Stan and all of those with Val. Wow, man,
Yeah, they're
the
doing
last
great
year
things.
plus is, I was at their I'm pretty sure it was their very first event at the Barn Gym where it was freezing cold. It might have been 25 of us there. We're all sitting around in lounge chairs drinking out coolers and,
Yeah,
and that to see what they were maybe year and a half, 2 years ago to where they are now is just impressive. And
yeah, they're doing great
they
things,
put on
man.
a hell of a show, and their venues they're top notch. And North Carolina. I'm on the ranking committee at North Carolina, and we just voted to mimic their ranking system where you can only change your ranking in super matches, but you can earn the right to challenge through a tournament.
Nice.
And that's what they did. And I've always liked that because what's to say I'm 7 matches deep and you're
Yeah,
coming in fresh and you beat me? It's not okay for you to take my ranking, but you should earn the right to challenge me
yeah,
for
yeah.
my
I
rankings.
like that.
Uh, yeah, so that's what we mimicked them with that because I loved it. And there's a lot of things they're doing that is worthy of a lot of us up and coming promotions to learn
Yeah,
from. And I'm sure I can talk
absolutely.
to Josh and Dan, and they're gonna say, "Don't do this," too. They're gonna tell me what not to do as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. And you know what's funny is early on, like I used to have those conversations with them. Like they were asking us, like, "How do you guys do this?" And how do you? And I mean, we're new to it ourselves. I mean, we've only been doing 98's only been around like 4.5, 5 years. So,
Okay.
um, so I mean, we just luckily here in the Northeast, like there's a lot of old experience still around. So we
Yeah.
had a lot of people around us really helping us to throw a quality event like Sue Fisher, you know what I mean, Winter Blast, and now Winter Blast is one of the biggest in the country. So I'm like, I look at VAL and you guys and other organizations, and I'm like, man, everyone's growing. Like, dude, this is awesome, and that's why 98 like started doing the whole franchise thing and stuff like that. Um, because I think networking is like the future of arm wrestling. You know what I mean? If
I
we're gonna grow
highly,
the sport, we got to work together instead of everybody always being at each other and competing with each other.
I'm glad you said that because I had a phone call today after, I was on another phone call and then I'm gonna give his name. His name is Jesse Hall. He's up and coming puller and he's got a team. They don't even have a name yet. They're
Yeah,
starting a new team in North Carolina, and he's
nice.
wanting to do an event to get involved. And he said, "Will you help me throw an event?"
Yeah,
And so I was like, so we're gonna meet together down in I think Warrenton, North Carolina is where he's at.
yeah,
We're gonna meet together in the next couple of weeks, check out the venue. But he's fortunate enough to have the brewery is wanting to do the full sponsorship of everything for his tournament. I was like, dude, that is a blessing bigger than you understand to
yeah,
have a
yeah,
lone sponsor wanting to take care of everything.
yeah,
And he said, I just don't know how much to tell him. I said, well, we'll break it down, itemize it because they're gonna want an accurate breakdown. You
yeah,
do metals, and this is perfect for like you bring in somebody like you know Dave that can help them
yeah,
understand that a lot too.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's probably I'm gonna have that conversation with Dave and it's like, look, help my man out here. Let's use you once again. Let's just show what to use resources that's out there to help us do it the right way. Because God
absolutely.
knows we've all done something the wrong way that was avoidable,
Yeah,
and God knows I have.
yeah,
And
yeah. We have too.
and
We're
I know you need to share that as well because I tell promoters, like up and coming promoters, you need to travel and go to other events and learn the right ways and wrong ways to do everything. And boom, phenomenal events. I love going to Boom's events. Very well ran, fast, strategic, to the point.
yeah,
And then I've been to some where it's 12 hours, 11 hours deep now, and we're standing outside because we've got ran out of the bar and we're in the cold, and now we're
yeah.
risking everybody getting
And
into it.
it's like 12 hours with 120 entries, and you're like, what the hell's taking so long?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah, yeah. I mean, it happens, and the thing is you got to be humble enough. Like us, we're our own biggest criticizers. Like the day after Winter Blast, I'm like, okay, what didn't work? where did we go wrong? How can we improve upon that for next year? And now let's make it happen. Like, we go through every tournament the same way, like, you know, and we just try to improve a little more every year. That's all we can do. And, you know, that's all anybody can do. So I like seeing promoters that are humble enough to like take a step back and go, you know, hey, we fucked up here, but we could do better. And just call, you know, instead of trying to say like, that was the best tournament in the world. And I'm like, you know, you see these guys like brag about their tournaments, but then you watch it on a live feed and you're like, oh man.
Yeah.
You know, like, just be humble enough and be self-aware enough, I think, because nobody's perfect. So to try to portray like everything's perfect to me is always like a little bit cringy. I'm like, there's always room for improvement. Even every tournament we do, we know there's room for improvement, and the next day we pick it apart like crazy, and we're like, okay, we got to fix this or upgrade this, or, you know.
One thing, I look back at my first couple of events or so, Bush League, we were reffing each other. We had no certified refs.
Yeah.
You know, and what was the problem with that was there wasn't many certified refs around here. So we went and got certified. Let's fix that problem.
Right.
I went and got certified. Nick went and got certified. Dobie went and got certified. Sammy we got certified so we could do it the right way and take care of the people on the table. So we started investing in your refs first. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm investing in my production crew now. What's the quality? Because there's so many people that want to support me and be part of the event that can't physically be there. And you know, if you're a donator or a sponsor and you can't be there, at least they can turn on the live stream or watch the playback and see what they invested in. Last thing you want them to see is, if you look at my first one, is a wobbly cell phone recording money that they've invested.
Yeah, dude, and a lot of us started out that way, like cell phones. And okay, now you get a tripod for your cell phone, and then, you know, you know, like now we have like a whole goddamn setup for production. And even though we have a lot of production stuff, like after this last event, I'm like, okay, we need something better for, like, the audio was clipping a little bit on one of the mics for the ref. So I'm like, okay, we got to upgrade this before the next tournament. We got to make sure it's better. And, you know,
ref mics. I haven't even thought about that yet. Ref mics. I like it. Yeah, I like that. I got to put that in.
You got to make sure that they remember they're mic'd up, because we had a few of them like say a few things where I was like, I might have to edit that out. You know, like.
Yeah, I would not put one on Chris Wood at Fall Brawl. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
Chris Wood is not getting mic'd up.
Dude, I had to cut a section out because one of the refs, two of the guys were like, "Oh, you're so strong," this and that, across the table, and he was like, "Why don't you guys just suck each other's dicks?" And I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, I looked at him, I'm like, "You're Mike, dude, you're Mike," and he looked down and he went. He looked like he saw a ghost, like, oh shit. And I was awesome. Like, well, now we gotta like make sure everybody remembers that they're mic'd up, you know.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's like a Matt Mask moment.
A bunch of idiot good old boys down here would easily let that slip out, I'm sure.
Yeah. Like, the sponsors don't like when our refs are saying things like this. You know, like, because honestly, as you grow, that's how you got to start thinking. Like, hey, how would a sponsor take this event? And if it's just a bunch of drunk dudes screaming, you're never going to get a sponsorship again, you know?
Yeah.
So
you're 100% right. Yeah. And it's taking, like, it's an evolution of how when I first came into it and I wanted to host my first event. I didn't have no business hosting my first event. It went great. No injuries. I'm very grateful for it, but I should have had somebody educate me throughout it, you know, and I've had other ones where my live stream cut out halfway through and I never even knew. And why? Because I'm on a cell phone and I don't have a production team keep watching it continuously for me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And that stuff, you know, you learn, you know, you get through it, but that's how we all grow anyway. So, you know, I'm glad we had a lot of mistakes in the beginning because it made us improve faster. So, you know, now we're at a point where we kind of trust ourselves a little more with how things are going to go. And it's becoming like when we show up to a tournament, we have like a routine, you know, like our crew jumps out and we're setting up the weigh station and registration first because we know people are going to start showing up any minute to weigh in. Then we jump to, okay, what's next? Let's get the tables on the stage. Now we can set the cameras up. Like, we have a whole process, and like we all know what to do now when we get there, and it's like super quick. Where before, it took hours because I'd be bringing in a table while someone else is bringing in some cameras, and then people are showing up to weigh in, and we're like, oh, we're not ready yet, and it was like pulling teeth in the beginning, but we just started to get the routine down, and like now it's like a well-oiled machine. And I think you learn from those mistakes where you're like, okay, we got to make this more smooth, and now we got it down, and there's still room for improvement. So I think everybody can take a good hard look at their own events and go, how can we make this better?
I think and I look at one. I think one thing that was bothering our production team was our reps. We were putting our reps in a bad position. Well, I take that back. For a proper angle, the refs would have had put in a bad position. That would have caused potential safety issues if we don't have our refs in the right position, our down refs.
Like if they're moving too far out of the way.
Yeah, so it's like we need to be mindful of that, and that is not having your ref change their job. That's adapting to us. We need to adapt to that. That ref is more important than that camera angle. So we got to learn that camera angle to be a little more. When PJ Elmore, you're talking about the getting into the school with Hoeing and them. That's through PJ Elmore. He's the actual teacher that they're going through at that high school, and he is one of our. He down ref for me at Carolina Clash, and he down refs at Fall Brawl. And he looks like Eddie Hall, but they called him Eddie Wall because the camera couldn't get past his back the whole time we was trying to watch it. So.
That's pretty funny, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's part of ref training. Like, if you take like Sean Hancock's ref training, like, you're supposed to lean to the side anyway. And, that works out. So, our production crew knows, they're going to be leaning this way or that way. So we need to have the camera, in these angles. But that's something where, I believe that the future of the sport, a lot of it comes from production value, because the only way to get eyes on the sport is to live stream it or do pay-per-views or all that stuff. So you have to have a pretty good live stream for people to want to watch it. So
let's look at East versus West, evolution of East versus West, and King of the Table, all that, how that's evolved in the last couple of years. I mean, it wasn't no gradual. They came. I mean, this has got much better, quicker, because they knew the value of it.
And look at their level; they still have mistakes like blackouts or audio dropping. So I'm like, all right, we're not doing that bad. If the guys at the very top that are spending $100,000 on a production crew, they're also having some fucking technical difficulties. So I'm like, all right, everybody makes mistakes.
And you're spot on though about the production being the future, because so many events, and I've been trying to get to Winter Blast for 3 years now, but and I can't get up there. But I'm watching it, and like the live stream's great, and it's like you're such a fan, you want the best possible live stream and playback to watch as well as a fan. Last thing you want also as a promoter is it getting bashed on the comments. I've learned as a promoter now, stay out of the comments. The comments.
Dude, for real. I'll go to the comments and they're like, "Oh, look, there's Fat Grondin walking behind the tables," and I'm like, "Oh, Jesus." But it's all fun. But Winter Blast is hard too, because like we have so many tables. Like trying to record that many tables is a challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And lighting, and it's a pain in the ass. But we're starting to figure it out.
I think we did one event. This is one of those I overcommitted and bit off more than I could. I ran 4 tables. 2 was a round robin 176 invitational. I had people come from all around the country. Joe Rogers took first, and that's when Alec Guth to me showed up on our map down here, was at that event, and he came in second. But then I did a super match event outside, so I was running 4 tables, trying to put live stream on both of them, and it was complete absolute mess. Half the event got missed. We had an injury because the table wasn't bolted down. I'm not saying that was the primary reason, but as a promoter, that's what I hold myself accountable for. That's what I feel the problem was. And It was just things like that where I took on too much and I needed help and I didn't ask for help, and it's just it was a mess. Regrettable. Not gonna say the event was a bad event, but there was a lot of regrettable mistakes made.
Oh yeah, and that's kind of what we're trying to do with like the whole 98 franchise things we started. Like we're trying to set like a standard, and we don't expect everyone in it to be at that standard right out of the gate, but like uniting and now being able to go to a sponsor and say, hey, I'm in the 98 network. We're a national brand. We run the biggest tournament in the country. So now that allows us to get bigger sponsors. And then my thought process is, say I get a $20,000 sponsor, and then I can give each franchise $2,000 and say, hey guys, upgrade your tables or your banners, or so that we're all like getting better together as a brand, and like our production value, whatever you need the money for, like you can get better cameras, whatever. But the whole point is to raise the bar. And, so that's what we're kind of trying to do with that whole thing. And, it's not, people think like, oh, you guys are trying to take over arm wrestling, but it's nothing like that at all. We view the value in networking,
It's camaraderie. It's networking and camaraderie. And I love the thought that I can hit up Billy Ortegas down in Texas and say, hey, what are y'all doing down there? You know what I mean? I can hit y'all up in PA and New Jersey and see what's doing differently up there, and then you can say, what are y'all Hicks doing in North Carolina, and things like that. We can kind of bounce off one another, and to know that the resources that's being provided through 98 that you've exposed me to as of late are the resources that I've like, shit, I wish I had some help trying to find some sponsors. Shit, I wish I had some help with some production crew advice, things like that I've never had.
Or even sharing each other's reps is huge.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you need some of our reps, we'll send them down, like stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff to it, and there's a lot of moving parts, but I think we're moving in the right direction, because like even like East versus West, we're very interested in what we're doing, because they're like, you guys are almost set up like a farm league, like for the pro leagues, like they should be like, we could set up an entire situation across all the 98 franchises where we're pushing guys up to that pinnacle, and then boom, they get picked up by East versus West or MAC, or they get an opportunity, and and we can create that, and as a whole unit, because we can kind of figure out what works, what doesn't, and then we implement it across the board when it works, so that we're all doing things that are just, we're all crushing our own franchises. So, that's kind of the gist of what we got going and stuff. And, hopefully we'll get more people on board in the future and see how it goes.
Well, and let's talk about in parallel with 98's growth. I don't think you can have this conversation without mentioning AUA and it doing similar things amongst the promoters and the refs. He's talking about sharing refs and promoters. Boom he's certifying refs across the freaking country, and that's how we've put ours. Our last couple of events are all AUA certified, PAL certified, and feeding off one another. And going into, I just told you yesterday, I got asked to come to Puerto Rico to ref an event with who?
That's
another
awesome.
AUA promotion. Who reached out, asked for an AUA ref to come down and help out with their event. So I was flattered, first of all, but that's just a perfect example of leaning on one another. I think myself, you, and maybe even Boom had talked about, they are not that country. Puerto Rico isn't a large arm wrestling country yet. There's just a few teams they're trying to grow, so they're leaning to the United States to try to help them, and it's a very good thing, beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I know Mikey's done a lot of stuff in Puerto Rico too.
Right. He told me that. Yeah.
And Brandon
I reached
Morris.
out to him yesterday about that yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, and he actually just signed on as a 98 franchise also, and he's on the board with me on the AUA board with Sean and Billy Ortega. So it's like, it's so cool to have that link where, like, I'm good friends with Billy Ortega, I'm good friends with Mikey, I'm good friends with Sean, and now we're all on the same board for the AUA. And now Mikey's part of 98. Like, it ties us all together, and we're all doing great things for the sport. And I
Like-minded.
love to see it,
Oh,
dude.
no personality clashes, but you're different enough where you're okay with bouncing ideas off of one another,
Yeah,
sharing what you do and don't like, but not to so much that it's causing conflict and causing issues amongst each of you,
right.
and that's what you need, and not
Yeah,
just amongst the board like you, but amongst the promoters inside the AUA and your 98 franchises. You need to be like,
yeah.
hey, Alan, I see what you're doing, but you may want to watch out for this. I need somebody to tell me that because hell, I'll overcommit to something in a heartbeat, bro. In a
Oh,
heartbeat.
same here, dude. Like Sean Hancock, like last year at Winter Blast, we had Mikey come do brackets with Corey Miller, and then
Yeah.
we had Sean pick all the head refs, so we had all master up refs. Dude, like it made the tournament. Like we got Winter Blast with over 500 entries done in like the same amount of time as like a 200-man tournament. Like it just went so smooth, dude. It was cool. And then now we're friends with all those refs, and they're all like, "Oh, I would come ref Winter Blast again," And Sean's done the last 2 years, and then actually, not last year, but the year before, Josh Harding did the brackets at Winter Blast. So
Oh,
and I've
okay.
been
Yep.
friends with those guys, so it's so cool to create these relationships and then see those guys doing things that are growing and doing good things, and you start to realize that all of us guys that become friends and are doing things, like you just said, we're all like-minded. And the ones that are not like-minded and that are in it for the wrong reasons just fall by the wayside, or their promotions start to fail because
Yeah.
eventually the community picks up on that they don't care for the pullers and the sport. And it
Yeah.
just, it is what it is.
I mentioned this to you yesterday when we talked, or Saturday when we talked. There's not one of us, I don't care who it is, whether it's the 98% or even the 2%, none of us are bigger than the sport, and we're sure as hell not
Right.
bigger than the community. And the community
Fuck
will
yeah.
consume you and get rid of you if you're bad for it. And I think it's it's
Yeah.
always going to be that way, and it's as it should be. It should be, and you just weed out the ones that's going to hurt the rest.
I'm big in the wrong ways, dude. You know what I mean?
Me
Alan, I
too.
had
Me too.
a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ray. Sorry about.
I was going to ask you about your events. Do you mainly run super matches, or do you do tournaments? Do you do both?
So far, what I've done, I started with the. I really enjoyed doing those round robin road to the pro invitationals with amateurs. Big reason for that, my entire team was amateurs. That's what my motivator was. Most of North Carolina was amateurs. So the first I did 3 round robin um, road to the pro events of all amateurs, and it consisted of pretty much West Virginia down to South Carolina was pretty much where we pulled people from, and it was invitational 10 people. That's how I started, and then I went to the super match events, and I like the super match events because from a promotional standpoint, I can hype them up better with the match cards, and I know who's going to be there. And
Yep.
up until just this past event, I haven't had a whole ton of support from a organization standpoint of getting everything going. Ton of support from my team as far as setting up the event, getting the all the physical aspects of it ready. But from an organizational matchmaking and the logistics, haven't had a ton of help with it. So it's a super match event's just a safer bet. But I'm getting to the point now where we're growing in a sense where I would love to do a much bigger tournament at a bigger venue on a bigger platform, a bigger stage,
Yeah.
and bringing people in from all over because a lot of folks like the tournament concept of
Yeah.
not knowing who you're going to pull. They feel like that and I'm not saying they're wrong. They feel like that shows who the better arm wrestler is when you can come in not knowing who you're going against and win.
Yeah.
And I can argue it either way. Just from a promotional standpoint, the super match events are safer because you know who's going to be there. You can make the match cards and you can promote it and you can stir that pot a little bit amongst the opponents and
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
get the attention of the fans. But I do
Absolutely.
feel like I'm ready to take that next step into a larger tournament and see how it goes. But
Yeah.
it's
That's
just
awesome.
the what ifs and stuff just need some support, like 98 backing and the now they're getting the right support cast behind me that can help me learn a little bit too. So.
Yeah, you already got what it takes to do it. I can tell, and I think it'll be super successful. And it's all about building your team. Like it took us a while to get we have our Sue Fisher's our brackets and weigh in person. We got Ray Cody. I mean, not Ray Cody. Ray Romanowski is our head ref, and he helps us plan super matches, and he helps train all the refs and get all the refs organized. We got our brackets guy, Dave Shell, Mikey, that helps us. Randy's running around doing all operational stuff, and we all have our part, and it makes things so much easier to build that inner crew that you have for the tournament. And I think you'll have no problem doing that. And like I said, we'll support you. I know VAL will support you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tons of people in North Carolina, a lot of good dudes down there. So I have no doubt that you guys will be successful as hell throwing tournaments.
It's funny the way you just described how y'all are, you're structured. Was this past event was probably the best I'd ever done, with people knowing what role they were going to play before they got there. So, Brandy Dobie is a well-known wife of a puller, Bradley Dobie, in North Carolina. And what the best part about Brandy is she knows all of our dumbasses. So she was perfect for doing calling out the names, getting people to the table, because she knew everyone. So who better for her to look across the room when somebody's not responding than her, who knows to get them over there. Jamie Vaughn, who does primarily my graphics, he came onto the commentary for the first time, taking over that. He's learning the sport as well. And then Josh Blevins' production crew. Like you said, this was the first time where I guess I did it without even knowing I was doing it, picking people to do certain tasks ahead of time. And it made life so much easier once the day came.
Big time. Yeah. So see, you're already there, man. You're already there.
Yeah, it's there. I'm excited. 2026 is going to be, 2025. We've got one more event definitely in October, and Jesse Hall's wanting to fit something around the end of December, January. I told him I wanted to check with the 98 franchises. I wanted to check with Val. I didn't want to put anything near anybody in the area. But what I like to say, at driving distance, because I don't want people to have to decide between the two.
Yeah.
And that may end up being another one in 2025. And then 2026, I would love to do another 4 to 5 events in 26, and
nice.
Probably do a tournament, something as early as probably February, March, and then obviously I love the fall time, because if you want to float to outside, it's less likely to have weather during the fall. So if you want to set up outside, it's nice.
Yeah.
Same here.
The running the tournaments is definitely important too, when you're trying to build up some of these athletes to get them potentially, climb the rankings, maybe get a shot at East versus West, King of the Table one day, build those names, build those stories. But I do agree with you about the super matches. They are easier to market. But those tournaments are a very important stepping stone for people, for sure.
100%. And the first timers, Ryan talked about this last week on social media about how y'all really advertise the first timers and getting them comfortable to be able to not be afraid to say I'm a first timer, because most of us have been there. The first time I walked into a tournament, I knew no one there. I showed up by myself with a drunk buddy, and showed up there, and I didn't know anyone. I did, and I was fortunate enough to walk in. The first person I talked to was the nicest guy in the building, Brent Presnell, and he saw green all over me. He said, "I need to get you at the table." That's what you need, because I would have never just openly walked up and said, "Hey, I'm stupid. I don't know what I'm doing," and teach me. So having people be comfortable with that, and as I was telling Ryan, I'm always big as a promoter to getting the refs' ear, like at throw down at Redmond's. I got in James Sperlin's ear when I knew we had 2 true amateurs. I wanted Sperlin, knowing Sperlin's one of the top-notch refs I've ever worked with. He gave them special attention, special care to make sure they were, safe. And whereas some of the pros, you let them get a little risky. They know their bodies, they know what they're doing a little more, but you can't be too careful with the true amateurs and the first timers and the novices as well.
Yeah, the first timers was a great success for us. That was fun.
Yeah, we didn't expect to get 57 entries from newcomers, but The only thing I did different is I made a separate flyer just for new guys and put it in like the township groups instead of arm wrestling groups. I put it in like, like Philly events and Cherry Hill, New Jersey events, and just threw it out there in the local Facebook groups. Dude, and we got 57 entries just from brand new pullers that have never been on a table. And, the pros were showing up going, dude, I don't fucking recognize anyone. And I'm like, me either. Like, this is awesome, dude. And
we also lowered the price of entry for the first timers, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We did $10 for the first timers.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've always tried to. We really try to push that for the females in North Carolina because we just don't have a great female turnout. We have some great female talent, but not a great by numbers. We don't have a big turnout in our state, and we was trying to do anything we could to try to get females. So it was like reducing costs or waiving costs of entries for the females, or whatever we could to try to.
We had one female show up at that tournament. Now it's like, oh man,
oh yeah.
And we want the youth and females to get involved so badly.
Yeah.
Try the Boy Scout Girl Scout angle, because the ones I've been talking to, So that's kind of like, like we're doing the Boy Scout Girl Scout thing, and we're gonna see how that works. If it works, that's something we're like, okay, let's get everyone in the franchise doing that in their areas. If we do the first timers thing and it works, let's get the whole franchise doing that, because then you're building the sport in your area. Say you get 10 new guys in your team. Those are 10 new guys going to your tournaments and doing super matches and supporting your brand. So, the biggest fans of arm wrestling are the arm wrestlers themselves. So the only way to grow the sport is like, let's get more arm wrestlers involved. So that's kind of our focus. And I kind of look at it like, let's try shit here that's just out of the box. And if it works, we have the whole franchise do it. If it doesn't work, we try something else.
Yeah.
But with all the franchises doing that, like Ray Cody's doing some stuff over in Arizona, he's trying some new things out of the box. If it works, we might do it over here. If it doesn't work, we throw it aside. And with having every franchise do that stuff, we're taking like, 9 different minds and putting them together in a think tank to just think up great things for arm wrestling. So I love the concept, and we'll see how things go.
I really, you mentioned it earlier. Love them or hate them, they're still gonna be fans regardless. And the ones that are hating, saying trying to take over arm wrestling, that tells me how selfish you are if you truly feel that way, and how unobservant you are if you're not watching what the true action is that's taking place. Just because you're seeing the name more, it's being showcased more. Look at what the good is that's going into it. And so the ones that saying that, I don't have really a better word to use other than it's just ignorance to it, that you're not recognizing what the good is that 98 is putting in towards the community at large and small.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but it's enjoyable too. It's like you kind of said earlier, it's camaraderie, it's brotherhood, sisterhood. It's fun putting in the work and watching it build up over time. So
I think that's when I sat back after Carolina Clash, and as I said, it was, to me, one, the most successful part is no injuries. We always feel that way. When you have no injuries, that's the biggest plus. But at the end of the day, I sat down, I had my first beer. And if I was finally able to breathe, I done paid all the production crew, I done paid all the refs, I paid everybody out, and my wallet was completely empty, and I couldn't do nothing but smile because of how rewarding it felt when I thought about my very first event, where I'm in a community center in Stoneville, North Carolina, population 800, and I'm using a cell phone to record it, and other arm wrestlers are having to ref it because we didn't have anybody certified, and we're serving Little Caesars pizza just to try to make some kind of money, and it's just overcharging for Little Caesars pizza just to make some money. So it was very nice, even though I didn't make a penny off Carolina Clash, I didn't lose anything, but that's what it wasn't about. It was nothing about that, and it was very, very rewarding.
Definitely.
Yeah, I view everything as a success if we just break even. I'm like, dude, we're not in the red. I mean, even this Winter Blast we just threw, we're in the red from that, but we knew we were going to be because we kind of went above and beyond for that one because we were teaming up with Arm Gods for that event the night before. So they did all their big super matches. So we wanted to like go all out and make it like a killer fucking weekend. But
it's an investment.
Yeah,
It's an
people
investment.
left there saying, like Bob Brown was like, dude, that was one of the best tournaments I've ever been to. So to get that feedback was awesome and is worth being in the red a little to just spread the word about the tournament and 98 and stuff. So, it's like any company would have to spend money and be in the red a little bit for advertising anyway. So I view it as advertising costs, But yeah, dude, I love what you guys are doing down there, and I love the whole Tennessee thing. You guys expanding, dude, like that's so cool, man. And
very excited about it. Very excited.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to talk about it tonight because I know a lot of people were wondering what you were talking about when you said big things coming and exciting news and stuff. So now we know, and that's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, Nathan Middlebrooks. I asked him. I proposed him with. I actually handed it to him a couple months ago, and he's like, Alan, I don't want to do wrong by you and not meet your expectations. And I think he was putting too much weight on himself. And I revisited him a couple weeks ago with him, and then again last week. I was like, look, I've already had him a shirt made that said East Tennessee Silver. I was like, look, man, it's yours. I was like, just think about it. Talk to the wife. There's no pressure, bro. I say all we do is we remain positive, support one another's events. We support, however we need to support, whether it's financially, sponsors, refs. We're there for each other, and we support each other's surrounding teams as well. So we'd go into Tennessee with beast mode to be part of Silverback's Arm Crews East Tennessee, supporting them. And they come into North Carolina to support North Carolina as well. And I said, there's no money involved. It's just a brotherhood. I don't need a penny from you. And finally, I guess I rubbed off on him long enough, or whatever, and I'm just very happy for him, and it'll help him grow in the sport as well, and he's the right person for it.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Good to see people collaborate like that.
And we met through a match that Stump Crew up in Cincinnati put together. I can't remember his name, the promoter there, but Stump. But he hit us up and put us at a table, and Nathan had me down 0-2, and I came back and won 3 straight to beat him.
Wow.
And to me, to this day, it's one of my favorite matches ever. Not just because I won, but we put on a hell of a show. And I would have took that L if we still put on that hell of a show for the people there. And it built a friendship, a relationship between he and I as well.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude.
That's what it's about.
That's pretty much how we've made all our friends, like just interacting and meeting people at tournaments and things like that. Yeah, I mean, like way back, you reached out to me to be on your podcast, and that was awesome. I was like, why would anybody want me on their podcast?
I need to get it back going, man. I took a break from it for a while, and I just life happens to all of us for a little bit, but I need to get it back going. I've got no reason not to right now. I've got the availability.
Yeah.
I got a new job where my work-life balance is just phenomenal. So
Great.
it's there's no reason can't do it again. So I need
and it does bring a lot of attention to your promotion,
Well, I was bringing on some good people. I had Craig Soublier on there. I had some, I had some people all around the country hopping on there. Sean Deerfield up in Michigan's doing a hell of a job up there with his promotion with Time Bomb, and up there, I mean, they're doing great stuff in Michigan as well. So, I enjoyed talking to him. It was really, like you said, it was spreading camaraderie, learning things from each other that, what people are doing differently. And I liked it for that.
Yeah.
Helps.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't want to keep you on too late. Anyway,
you're all right.
Randy, do you have any questions or?
No, I think I'm caught up on mine. I have a little list over here.
Anybody you want to shout out, or your own promotion or your team? And I'll put the links to your social stuff in the on the podcast so people can click and go check you out.
Yeah, I just really want to, really want to shout out to North Carolina Arm Wrestling again. Just all the teams, the captains, the things we're doing there, with the new ranking committee that we've put together to try to keep it fair and consistent, and the captains really working together. We're not afraid to give each other feedback in our private group and talk real with one another because we're close enough to do that without really stepping on toes. And being a spokesperson for each of their teams, couldn't ask for better people to work with. Silverback Arms Crew, obviously, John Lawson, Kingsborough, Willie Comer, Chris Martin, now Nathan Middlebrooks and his team. Very proud to have them on board, support me through everything. And, it's very blessed now to, continue to work with franchises such as 98 and being able to, work with y'all and have that network as we kept talking about I'm in Sean's ear with AUA every few days talking about something, just to bounce ideas. I'll be at work and have an idea, and I was like, I know who has the answer, and I'll hit him with a message. Normally within 5 or 10 minutes, as long as he's not canoeing or kayaking or calling in alligators or whatever the shit it is he does up there. It's he's normally pretty quick to respond.
Or T-boning minivans.
Oh man, gosh.
Dude, when he sent me the picture with like a baby onesie on the bumper, I was like, "Oh my god, dude!"
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Felt so bad for him. Yeah, oh man, he already had a shit day going before that. It was a horrible day.
That was a nightmare day for sure, man.
Brutal.
He deserves to go, kayaking and canoeing and fishing or whatever.
I think it's always something. I'm like, gosh, what does he do all day?
Yeah. Dude, that was crazy. But I'm sure we'll talk soon, man. And you have our support. All of North Carolina does. If they want it, they got it. 98 tries to support everybody, and I know you do the same thing. So, thanks for coming on, brother.
Hey, thank y'all so much. This has been a pleasure. This has been nice. Very good way to kick off my week on a Monday evening. I really appreciate y'all and everything you're doing. All the efforts that does not go unnoticed by anyone. So I just want y'all to know that as well.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, man.
I'm gonna hit end now.
Thank y'all.